So I was hired 22 years ago by Princeton University to oversee the construction of the cogeneration plant and then stick around and be a part of its operation. Prior to that, I spent 10 years working for Philadelphia Electric, that became PECO, that became Exelon. So it's the big central utility company in Philadelphia. And about half my experience there was hands-on in power plants, and about half was in the central engineering office. So as formal education, I have a background both undergraduate and graduate school in mechanical engineering. The work I do doesn't require a master's degree, but it doesn't hurt. It helps. And I'm the only degreed engineer in the power plant, but everybody else also has an engineering license, but they are operating licenses. So all of us in the power plant have licenses by the state in some way. So you need to do some push-ups and demonstrate that you're any good at what you do and that you meet certain thresholds. But some are more hands-on focus and maintenance, and some are more either design or concept level, that kind of thing. And there's three of us who are sort of what I call management in the plant. I'm a little bit more big picture, long-term design and contract related, and the other two guys are a little bit more focused on the day-to-day or the medium-term maintenance. But on a good day, you could pluck any one of us out of the picture and everything would keep rolling smoothly.
What do you do here? Like, what is this facility?
My title is Energy Plant Manager, and that is a pretty broad role. Sometimes it might be managing a 2, 3, 5-year construction project that could go up to $30 million or $40 million or something like that. And sometimes it might be managing a whole handful of smaller projects, like what we call energy conservation modifications. So we're going to take something that's already working or still working, we'll take it apart and we'll fix it better than it was before so that it's more efficient, uses less energy, lower environmental footprint. I also have a role that relates to operations, so if the plant shuts down and trips, that becomes the most immediate priority, restoring service to campus.
And this power plant runs all of campus and any of the town as well?
So we make all of the heating and all of the cooling for the campus, which is 180 buildings, which is 9 million square feet of what we'll call conditioned space. Half of our business as an organization is education, and everybody knows about that piece. Half of our business as an organization is research. So there's a lot of very large research and very, very energy intense research laboratories. So those go 24/7, 365. And so we have a lot of pretty energy intense users on campus that have nothing to do with the academic year per se. All right, and an important part of why we exist as a power plant is to reliably supply heating, cooling, and electricity to those most critical users on campus. All right.
Why aren't there more college campuses that have facilities like yours?
There's tons of them,
What is
but
it?
they're less known.
Okay.
Uh,
What makes you different?
What are great applications for what we'll call district energy, or a central power plant supplying a community? We could even call it community energy. It would be a place that's ideally, let's see, we'll put a cogeneration plant associated with a campus, but it might be a research campus, like a pharmaceutical company would have a research campus. It might be an airport. It might be a military base. It might be a hospital. So you're hearing places that strongly value reliability or security, energy security or energy independence when they need it, but not always, right? They're happy to be connected to the grid most of the time. But the grid will fail. Everything we build will fail at some point. Everything that you'll see in the power plant is going to break at some point, and it's our intent to plan for that eventuality, not be surprised by it, and to be prepared for that. Right? So we already think through when this breaks, not if this breaks. How are we going to respond to it? So you'll see in the design of the plant that concept is built in. Who is an ideal customer are places that not only value energy and reliability of the energy or energy security, but also they have a long time horizon. So the university's been here 270 years and says, yeah, that's the beginning. Let's plan for the next 10 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. If you're who is the worst case is a company that is a developer. So you're going to build a hotel or you're going to build a high-rise. You're going to sell it at the most competitive price, usually cheapest, and you're going to tell your customer, hey, look, this is a less expensive per square foot building than that one down the street, okay? The sad thing is that really thinks about first cost only. It doesn't think about life cycle cost. And if we're going to save the planet, there'll be a bunch of people who we can convince because it's the right thing to do, to spend money or to go to effort to make changes, because they understand or they accept that, you know, global warming's a thing, or that heating up the planet or burning up resources that are limited, that are finite, is probably a bad idea. All right, it's basically stealing from the future. So instead of that, we need to talk about life cycle cost of our activities. And so we need to be able to sell the idea of reducing our carbon footprint or reducing energy spend or reducing extractive activities on a more mercenary basis to save money. And if you and I talk about the life cycle cost of an activity rather than just the first cost of an activity, we'll win everybody over. So it's a really, really important thing to introduce the concept of life cycle cost. What's life cycle cost? It's the cost of buying something, the cost of maintaining something, operating something, and ultimately disposing of it. All right? So the car that you're aspiring to buy is going to cost you so much. The Prius that you're going to salivate over and say, gee, I really like a Prius, is going to cost a little bit more than the Honda Civic, right? Or no, let's use the Chevy Bolt, okay? Just to make it really more of a contrast. The Chevy Bolt is introduced at the end of this year. It's a $40,000 car, and that is a full-on electric vehicle, okay? The Honda Civic is going to be, say, $28,000, $30,000, is a standard internal combustion engine, gasoline engine. And you say, yeah, but 28 grand is a lot of money for a car. Why should I spend 40? So you have to talk life cycle costs for that to make sense. You have to say, yeah, but the Honda Civic, I'm planning to drive that 100,000 miles. And I'll say 100,000 miles, to make the math easy, we'll say, all right, 25 miles per gallon. So that's 4,000 gallons of fuel, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
4 times 20.
Mhm.
This is the part you have to edit out. You swore to me that you would edit this out.
I will.
Yeah, 25 times 4,000 is 100,000.